Welcome to T-Boys TV
Very sports.
and Brummy on tour, but obviously Harry isn't here today. But obviously he's still live on his channel as well. Obviously we're here for the game week 6 previews to obviously the games in the championship, and a lot of interesting games this weekend. Especially when you look at how a lot of results went last week. Quite interesting. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So obviously the first game, I'll let you start off, Lewis. That is obviously your team. Another Friday night, back-to-back Friday night games. Obviously Luton will be the Friday night next week, but you're away at Stoke. How are you feeling about this one?
Kind of confident, to be fair, because obviously they've weirdly just sacked the manager. Obviously, they've got a new coach now, but that was an odd one for me. I don't understand the theory of sacking him. So steady confidence, I guess, because we've not had the greatest starts, as everyone's fully aware by now. So yeah, I feel like we'll go into this with a little bit of confidence, but I think we'll come up with a win, but it won't be a good watch.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, as for me, I think it's one of them games where it's one where it could go either way, but you don't really know who. I can maybe see a draw, but I don't know. I just think someone's going to sneak it in this game. I don't know. It's quite an interesting one. Like you say, the manager getting sacked, Schumacher. Yeah, I agree. It's a weird one, because they didn't have an awful start to the league. Yeah, they've been inconsistent, but they've been doing better than both of our teams, for example. And obviously to other teams as well. So it's not like they're like how Cardiff are, for example. I understand that a bit more, but yeah, I agree. It's a bit of a weird one. I mean, could it be? Obviously, they have got someone in. The Spanish coach that was at. I can't remember what team he was at. Norwich, that's the one. So they've got him in. I mean, I don't know. The way I see it, I'll get my score prediction first. Then the way I see it is sort of like, remember when we played Preston a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
And obviously, it was that sort of game where it's a new manager bounce. As much as they're not, they're still learning things. I don't know. Just Hull obviously still haven't quite won, but then again, I could see Hull winning. Like edging it. I don't know. It's an interesting one, but because I can just see it being so similar to when we played Preston. So, in the sense of you dominate, but they just win. Do you know what I mean? So I'm gonna say a 1-0 like that game. Your score prediction, Lewis? You say you're confident, or fairly confident anyway. You reckon you'll win then?
I'll go with 2-1 City win. I think if we don't win this game, I'm sorry, but he has to go. He has to go. We can't keep him, because if we keep him, it's just going to go on and on and on and on and on and on, fucking on. To the point where he gets to Christmas, we still, hopefully, we should have won a game by then.
Well, yeah, you should have. Yeah.
I'm going to say how it is. We have him by Christmas, we're going down. And I stood on the bus with somebody on the way home on Friday night, and that's just how it is. I think if we lose this game, it's time to go, because we can't carry on. But yeah, 2-1 Hull. I feel like we sneak it. I don't think it'll be the greatest games to watch, but we'll find a winner from somehow, I think.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. We'll see. Like I say, I can see someone edging it. As much as I could see a draw, I don't know. I just think someone's going to win it, but I just don't know who. Because, like I say, it's first game with the new manager for them, so obviously they'll be trying to learn things and adapt to the way he wants playing that. But then Hull just quite haven't got that win. But then again, it's a good opportunity to try and get that win. Against the Stoke side, obviously with a bit of change.
I'm telling you now, if it's a draw, it's going to be 0-0.
Yeah, probably. I'd agree with that. But yeah, moving on to the next one. Again, 3 12:30 games. And I think it's like that for the majority of the season due to the the Sky Sports Plus thing and all of that. And the first game, that we're going to look at out of them is Norwich versus Watford. Now, I keep saying, guys, I hate to admit it, Watford have started the season well. I mean, they haven't actually won the last two games, but before that, they were doing really well. You know, they won all
What
their games.
the fuck's that?
Oh, something's going on where
I think it's
Lewis
like
is.
I think it's like a fighter jet or something like
Bloody hell. Taking on Norwich, who again been quite hit and miss, but done all right recently. You know, one away at obviously Coventry, and then obviously been on a decent bit of form. You know, Sargent's been getting goals and that. They did obviously lose the last game, but you know before that they've done okay. You know, they've got some decent draws against like the likes of Sheffield United, stuff like that. I mean, they're at home. Watford, like I say, they haven't won their last two. For me, it's a good opportunity for Norwich to get something. I know Sargent does have a good goal scoring record against Watford. I remember when they were in the Premier League and he scored them two really good goals at Vicarage Road. Um, so I don't know. For me, you know what? I'm actually going to say, and people might sound biased, but I actually think Norwich can do this. I think they can get a win here. And I'm going to say it's a close game, but I'm going to say they win 2-1 in this game. Get a bit of that Sargent magic happening again. Like I say, he's got a good goal scoring record against Watford, so I could see that continuing. He obviously has scored a few times this season as well. So I'm going to say they win it 2-1. Your thoughts on this game, Lewis?
that. Yeah, I think it'll be a good game. I think Norwich is slowly creeping back to Norwich that we know they can be. Watford fallen off an edge a little bit. I'm struggling to find a winner. I think it's two teams in half decent forms that, in theory, should. I think it'd be a draw. I can't see a winner personally. I mean, I do think that if anybody does win, I feel like it might be Watford. But with Norwich creeping back into form slowly, Norwich falling off a little knife edge a little bit. I'm going with a 1-1.
1-1 draw. Fair enough. Fair enough. Uh, Speaking on Hull, obviously, we've got a Hull fan in the chat. Big up to yourself, mate. Hope you're well. Literally just done our preview for the whole game. So if you want to check that out, obviously rewind it a little bit. But I hope you're well, mate. But yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough. Moving on to the next one, which is a London derby, and that is obviously QPR versus Millwall. Now, QPR obviously have done okay, to be fair, a lot better than people would have expected going into this season. You know, they're taking on Millwall, who obviously lost their last game to us. Obviously, I mean, they did have a bit of a spell in the second half. Again, I don't think their chances were mainly from us doing silliness. Do you know what I mean? It weren't like they proper opened us up or anything. But again, we expected them to have a bit of pressure on us. You know, they're at home. They're going to have them, especially for how long we haven't won for as well. It was always going to be, players' nerves and that type of thing, trying to see it out. But yeah, QPR have done much better than people think. You know, going into this, they will be the favourites. You know, because of how they started, they are at home as well in this game. I don't know. It's got one of them interesting feels to it. You know, it definitely will kick off a little bit between the fans. Like I say, it is a derby, and you know what Millwall are like anyway. Um, but yeah, do you know what? I can see a draw in this one. Again, like I say, QPR would be the favourites because they're at home and how they've been. But I'm going to say a draw. I'm going to go for my first draw that I've predicted so far for this game week. And I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. But yeah, Glimpse has got, obviously, he's a Hull fan. He's gone with the same as me. 1-0. That's also what I said to Stoke. I think it might be similar, mate, to when Luton played Preston a couple of weeks ago, in the sense of new manager bounce. You'll probably dominate, but you just quite won't get that win, sort of like we did against Preston. I could see something like that. You're away from home as well. You know, I could understand the frustration. You know, like Lewis has said, if you guys don't win, because it is. Then again, you can see it as a good opportunity. The new style for them adapting to how the new manager wants to play. But I don't know, man. I just think they'll win it as well. 1-0, exact same as you, mate. When it comes to that, but yeah, good to see you in the chat, mate. Glad it come up on your timeline. Obviously, we are streaming on 3 channels. Obviously, my channel, Lewis's channel, and Harry's channel. Obviously, Harry isn't here today. But yeah, obviously we're still streaming on all of them like we have been for the last couple of weeks. So yeah, man, do subscribe to all the channels if you haven't already. Best place to go if you want to find all of them is mine because I've got them. Everyone's in the description, and obviously mine's on mine. So yeah, if you want to do that, then obviously do as well. But like I say, I'm going to say a 1-1 draw in that one. You could maybe go with QPR. Well, you could go with anyone, obviously, but majority of people would probably edge QPR because they've done well, and stuff like that. Obviously, did lose during the week, but again, that's probably expected. Playing a Premier League opposition in Crystal Palace. But yeah, I'm going to say it's a 1-1 in this one, but Lewis will be back very shortly. He'll just bring himself back in when he's ready. So yeah, I'll move on to the next game quickly while we wait for him, and then when he comes back, I'll get him to predict that game. But yeah, again, another derby in the next game, and that is obviously Sunderland taking on Middlesbrough. Now, Sunderland obviously did lose to Plymouth. Me and Lewis didn't expect that. Obviously, Harry and Hanno did. Fair play to them. Taken on Middlesbrough, who again have been very hit and miss this season. It is a derby though, so form does go out the window. I remember last season, Middlesbrough absolutely slapped them 4-0, at the Stadium of Light. So it's quite an interesting one going into this one because will Sunderland bounce back or, will Middlesbrough win again like they did last year? Obviously not in that manner, but, can they make it back-to-back wins away at Sunderland? I mean, it's an interesting one going into this one. But yeah, I mean, I'll say my prediction, and then we'll get into Lewis's for the last two. We just done this one, and obviously the QPR one. But yeah, I'm going to say Sunderland do bounce back because they are at home. They've been really good at home. Well, they've been really good away, bar the last game. So I'm going to say they win 2-1. I'm going to say it's a close one, but they win. But then again, I've got that slight feeling I wouldn't be surprised if Middlesbrough got something. But I'll say it. I'll say it 2-1. Sunderland bounce back. But yeah, Lewis, your prediction for QPR Millwall?
I think it's one of them dead rubber games in terms of obviously no games officially dead rubber in terms of the league and that. But I feel like there'll be a few goals, but I think they're more from mistakes and on the back or something like mistake in midfield. Norwich, it's not fucking Norwich. QPR started okay. Home form's not been great. Mill seem to be better as such away. So I feel like Mill will nick it 2-1, but I don't think it'll be the greatest game in the world.
Fair enough. And then Sunderland, Middlesbrough?
Well, Sunderland needs back up. Obviously, bounced back from obviously last week. And I think they will, to be fair. I think a 2-0 to Sunderland because Middlesbrough haven't looked exactly fantastic.
No. Yeah, like I say, they've been very hit and miss. Moving on to the next one, which is quite an interesting one for me, and that is obviously the 3:00 games now. Bristol City versus Oxford United. Now, Oxford have obviously done very well. Majority of them games have been at home. However, away they have given teams games they've played so far. Obviously, narrowly losing on that Friday night to Coventry, and then obviously losing to Blackburn 2-1. So they have given teams games, even away from home. Obviously, we know at home they're very good. They're taking on Bristol City probably at the right time. Obviously they've lost 2 games heavily back to back. Obviously, they have been away, and I have said with Bristol City, I think they will be better at home. And I like I've always said, since the start of the season, I've got high expectations for them. So, a couple of weeks ago, this would have been a game where I'd have said, Bristol City win definitely. But as the weeks have gone on, Oxford actually do pretty well as well. With their overall history, I think they've actually beaten them more times. Yeah, they actually have 19 wins to 12. So it's quite an interesting one. I mean, the last time they played, it was in the League Cup. Last year, Bristol City winning very convincingly. But I don't know. I think it's got. I think Oxford can go there and get something. I really do, especially the way they're playing. Yes, Bristol City are at home, so you back them to do much better than they have. But I don't know. I've got a feeling Oxford, man, they're doing really well. As we know this season, been in every game that they haven't won as well. So I'm going to say they do it. I'm going to say it's a close game. Obviously, I'm not going to say they blow them out of the water or anything like that. But I'm going to say they get a 2-1 away win. Harris and someone else to score. I can see it. I think Bristol City they maybe need one more game to get back in the swing of things. But like I say, they'll need to bounce back now, being at home. Them 2 away defeats are not good looks at all. But yeah, 2-1. I'm going to say Oxford actually go there and win. I think they'll definitely be in it, even if they don't win. So yeah, we shall see. And even games Bristol City have had at home so far this season, they've been tight, haven't they? 4-3 with Millwall. Was it 1-1 with Coventry or something like that? So it will be a close game. I do believe that, based on what I've just said with both teams as well with their games this year. But yeah, Lewis, your prediction for this one? Can Oxford get an away win?
Yeah, I think they will. I feel like obviously Aston Gate's not the easiest of places to go to. So I feel like it'll be one of them snatch and grab sort of things in terms of it's a half decent game, but not many goals. So I feel like Oxford will find a way to nick it 1-0 quite late on. But I think it'll just be a game of missed chances and either team find a late winner. But I feel like Oxford, if you look at the form, more confidence going into it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Definitely agree with that for sure. Like I say, both gone with a Oxford win in that one, away win. Do you guys think that'll happen? Do obviously let us know. Moving on to the next one, and that is Burnley at home against Portsmouth. Now, can't feel a bit sorry for Portsmouth again. I know the last 2 games have not been the best, but before that, getting really good draws, to start, life back in the Championship against 3, teams you would put up there. Obviously the last game. I mean, as much as West Brom got a clean sheet, and on looking at a 3-0, it looks like a convincing win. Portsmouth, I do feel they had chances. They did have some chances to score, and I was saying it in the reaction. If West Brom are playing a better side, no disrespect to Portsmouth, like a team that's up there, or you'd expect to be up there, with quality of players and stuff, then they would have conceded definitely. But I think it's a big ask. Going to Turf Moor and getting anything. If we're going to be honest. So for me, yeah, only one way I could see this going. Burnley, yes, they did get a good win against Leeds, obviously away, statement win in my opinion. Again, Leeds had chances. Yeah, no worries. Leeds had chances, but I don't know, man. I just think Burnley at home, you know what they're like. Simple as that, really. So I'm going to say a Burnley win, obviously. I'm going to say 3-1 Burnley, but a close 3-1, not a dominant 3-1. I can't see Portsmouth scoring, but Burnley should really have too much, especially at home. We know they're very good at home and they don't lose, really. I think they've only lost 3 of the last 38 in the Championship at home or something like that. So, yeah, 3-1 for me. Convincing. Well, not proper dominant display, but, just a 2-goal deficit win in the end. But I could see Portsmouth, I could see it being 1-1, and then Burnley get 2 late goals, later on in the game. So, yeah, that's what I reckon. 3-1 for me. when it comes to that. Hanno is out here calling out you, Lewis. He's calling out you. I'm guessing that's the,
Of
the
eight,
game the other day, or last week, shall I say? The Plymouth predictions.
of, of eight. That's not smoking.
Oh god. Oh dear. But yeah, no, I do get in your predictions as well for these games. But yeah, like I say, I'm saying 3-1 Burnley. How do you see this one going, Lewis? Burnley win?
Yeah, I'll agree with you. 3-1. I feel like it'd be a decent showing from Portsmouth. But I feel like if you look at the quality and
Yeah.
recent results, like they've had a little bit of a drop off since like the last few results prior to the window shutting. But I feel like they're back now. I feel like they're back to the band that we know they can be. I'd like you said, I don't think it'll be exactly dominant, but I feel like it'll be controlled by
Yeah.
Burnley. I think Portsmouth have the chances, but I just don't. I just think with Burnley being at home, you just kind of have to back them. So 3-1, like you said.
Yeah. No, fair enough. It's one of them, isn't it, really? Moving on to the next one. Cardiff versus Leeds. Now, Cardiff obviously been awful, as we know. Their only good result so far this season was obviously the draw in the derby. Since then, they've not really been great. Like they have had chances in games, but they're just not getting results. As we know, obviously sit bottom of the league with a point. Taking on Leeds, who did obviously lose last week, did have chances to at least get a draw in that game, but just didn't take it. Especially early on, they had a great chance to score against Burnley, but they'll want to bounce back. They are doing well, away from home. As the season's gone on, obviously their last one, they obviously won 2-0. Good away win on the Friday night against Sheffield Wednesday. And again, they'll see this as an opportunity. I think if Cardiff get any sort of result, then they'll take it. But I do think Leeds will win this one. I think the quality will shine through. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if Cardiff had chances, good chances, but I just worry about them taking them at the moment when it comes to that. And I think defensively, they're obviously not great. Have already, conceded, double figure goals and stuff and rarely scored. So for me, I'm going to say Leeds go there and win. I know Leeds can have a record of messing things up, but I do think they'll win this one. And I'm going to say they get a 2-0 away win. But Cardiff do have chances, but they just fluff them again, essentially. So 2-0 for me. Can Cardiff get something, Lewis?
No, and again, we're gonna meet with the prediction. I think this will be the end of Cardiff's manager. I think this will be the end of the Cardiff manager's job. After this, again, likewise the whole, if they are to lose, I think they will. Something has to change. I feel like Leeds will want to bounce back from last week. And when you want to bounce back, this is probably the perfect sort of game to have. And I feel like they'll do it 100%. Cardiff, they're just 3-4 at the minute. Leaking goals everywhere, not exactly scoring. Bit like Hull, really. But again, this will just be probably a little bit more dominant than the Burnley game. I just don't see a way Cardiff wins 2-0 Leeds.
Yeah, 2-0 Leeds. Back-to-back same predictions that we've gone with. I mean, this is giving me vibes of last week. When him
I'm
and
not
Harry
saying it, but no.
he's not saying what you're smoking this time.
I'm not saying anything, but no.
Oh dear. Nah.
And
We'll see. We'll
Cardiff,
see.
Cardiff
I
better
mean, like I
not
say,
win.
Leeds do have a history of losing these type of games.
Well,
Let's
they
be
better
honest.
not, because if we don't win, we're fucking bottom of the league. So
Yeah.
if Cardiff win, so fuck off Leeds.
But yeah. Nah, where I think Leeds will proper hurt them is into them wide players. Just on the counters and that. They'll just not that they'll be getting dominated, but they'll get a chance. Cardiff will be playing a high line at some point. They'll probably mess up from a corner, then Leeds will go and score. I could just see something like that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's that. Moving on to the next one, Coventry versus Swansea. Right, now listen to this, guys. This is absolutely insane, all right? The last time, right, Coventry beat Swansea was 1981, right? And it's not like they've only played a few times since. They've played many, many times since. And it's one of them games where, Coventry struggle. And it was like that a couple of weeks ago. Not as, long, but when they played Norwich, they haven't beat them for ages as well. And they just have a record over these teams where they can't beat them. 1981, that's insane. They play each other regularly. It's not like it's rare. So it's a sticky game for Coventry. I mean, Swansea, they're probably one of them teams you look at and will think, they'll probably finish mid-table. As for Coventry, I mean, heartbreak for them yesterday against Tottenham. Obviously they went 1-0 up. To be fair, they actually made a really good account, which I did expect anyway, being at home. Obviously got an early goal on that. But then, they just turned it on. Really, Tottenham, they made the right subs that they had to make, and it just shone through really. But they'll be a bit devastated from that, as much as that is against Premier League opposition. But they have that record against Swansea. That is poor, like I say. So for me, I'm not going to say they lose, but I'm not going to say they win. I'm going to go for my second draw so far of the weekend, and I'm going to say a 1-1 draw in this one. Can Coventry break that horrible record, Lewis?
Yeah, I think they will. Well, if they played it last night, then yes. Well, apart from the last few minutes, but Swansea, and I don't know exactly what their start has been like, but Coventry at home, they traditionally do well there. Obviously, last night they played quite well, and obviously the heartbreak in the last 5 minutes or so. And I feel like if you look at the team on paper, then you would go Coventry, especially like I say, we've been at home. And I feel like you look at Cardiff, like they haven't the greatest start, but the players that can hurt them are slowly coming into form, and that's what you want, especially this time of season. So I'm going to go with 2 on Coventry, but I feel like it'll be one of them where it'll be a late grab winner.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, it'd be really good for them to finally break that. I mean, Hanno's here saying you don't care about the history. There is that, but it is there, mate. They're the same thing against Norwich. It wasn't as bad, but it was still, I think, since the 90s or something like that. And it's not like I say, it's not like they rarely play each other. Do you know what I mean? They've played each other numerous amount of times since, so it could play a part. But I don't think they'll lose. But I don't know, man. And maybe as much as that game was still done in 90 minutes, that could have played a toll. Again, I know they've rotated a little bit in certain areas, but still, sometimes it does. When you work that hard, it can, and it is. Yeah, it's back-to-back games at home, so it's not like they've got to travel all that, but it can play a part sometimes. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's going to be interesting there. Shout out to obviously Geordie in the chat, Harry's in the chat as well. So yeah, big up to yourselves, guys. But yeah, moving on to the next one, which is Luton. We'll be at this game. I'm really looking forward to it because I'm sitting in the new stand. We'll be going with my dad. So yeah, it's going to be pretty sick to be there. I will be at the next 2 games. Obviously, I'll go in Plymouth away as well next Friday. So, boy, it's going to be peak if we don't win that. But Sheffield Wednesday, man, I think Now that we've got back-to-back wins, it could be back-to-back wins. Sorry, now that we've got a win, I think we can bring a lot of confidence going into that. As well, hard for 3 points in the end. Especially the chances Millwall did have from our own mistakes, but still, Kaminsky was brilliant in the game. Shot stopping anyway, distribution a bit questionable, but again, we know that. Stop passing it around the back when our keeper's not great at distribution. That annoys me, but we're going to see it because it's the new way Rob Edwards wants to play. But when it works, and it did work the other day, so you can't complain. You dropped Morris. People said to me it was a surprise. No, he needed to be dropped. But yeah, good for me. It's a good opportunity. Wednesday, since the opening day of the season, have been awful. Especially away, they haven't even scored, as far as I'm aware, away from home since that game. Yes, they've got some decent players, Barry Bannon, but usually, right, when we play him or come up against him, we actually keep him fairly quiet. To be fair, obviously they've got Jamal Lowe as well, who has missed a few good chances in the last few games. They'll be disappointed with their last result. They didn't hang on the manner of how they conceded the goal against QPR. So for me, we're back at home. It's a good opportunity to win, man. It really is. Especially when you look at, again, it's a championship, anything can happen. But when you look at the squads as well, you know, it's a great opportunity, man, for me to win this game. I'll be honest. If we don't win this game, I'll be disappointed. I don't want to draw. I won't even be happy if a draw, guys. Seriously, I will not be happy if a draw. So, yeah, and there is that game. I have been thinking it for a couple of weeks, even before the Millwall game, where we will win convincingly at one point in the season, and it could very well be this game. If we take our chances, because the thing is, at the start of the season, before we, won last week, our problem was not taking chances. We're having how many away at Preston, 17 or something, 22 or 23 against QPR in the cup. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could be one of them displays. I look at the way Sheffield Wednesday play, right? They play a high line, yeah, and we can exploit that. Elijah, Chong, Clark, them players have got a decent amount of pace to get in behind. Lineup wise, obviously I'll get more into it tomorrow, but if you're obviously not there tomorrow, I probably would go insane. I could maybe see one or two changes just due to, maybe changing it up a little bit. But that saying, don't change a winning team. So for me, I'm going to say it's a pretty comfortable win at home. I think it's a great opportunity. Like so, if we don't win, I won't be happy. I won't even accept a draw in this game because they've been awful away from home, awful since the first game of the season. So for me, I'm saying 2-0, comfortable Luton win. I'm going to say it's a similar game to when we played Blackburn in the season we went up, where it took us a while to win at home, but we did. Reece Burke scored a really good goal that game. I can't remember who else scored, but yeah, 2-0 for me. Hopefully, one of the strikers gets off the mark. Probably Elijah, because I can't see Morris starting. He shouldn't start this game. He didn't do anything to come on to warrant starting again, in my opinion. So, yeah, 2-0 Luton, Elijah, and do you know what? Jordan Clark. Why not? Why not? Jordan Clark score. So, yeah, that's what I reckon. 2-0, comfortable. Can Lewis, can Lewis? Can Luton continue this winning run, Lewis?
Yeah, yeah. It should be fairly comfortable. It should be the most convincing, win. Well, obviously, I love yet. Sheffield Wednesday since opening day have been poor, really poor.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do kind of feel bad for Danny Well because people talked about him, redoing last season, and I mean, I'm sure the board was still giving him time, but the pressure is probably there a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like Luton will win very convincingly. I feel like Wednesday they haven't really troubled many teams since Plymouth. I don't think they'll trouble you too much, to be honest. So I'm going to go 3-0 win.
Yeah. No,
And I
that's
feel
fair
like
enough.
Chong. Baptiste, if he plays.
Yeah, he should be back for this one. It's the type of game that suits
And
him. Millwall away didn't really suit him when I think about it.
I've just got a feeling to warrant his new contract, Alfie Doughty.
Yeah, do you know what? A few people have said that since he signed that. A few people reckon he'll score on the weekend. Actually, I mean, I could see it back post from a Baptiste cross. But yeah, Baptiste should be back in for this game, and that's why I say that could be one of the changes I could see. But let's go through some comments. Can't watch this game, but if I can watch a Plymouth game, I'll let you know. Maybe a watch along. Yeah. We'll get into that nearer the time. We'll play a part, but Swansea, St. Worth, and Hull's definitely a Coventry win. Definitely. Or might have to go back to that if it don't happen. Shout out to Charlie on buses in the chat. Hope we win. Wednesday back into winning form, but knowing Luton will probably lose. Hope Moses starts. I don't think he'll start. He might get a cameo, but I don't think he'll start in this game. Does he really need to? Do you know what I mean? I can maybe see him starting against Plymouth, just because that's away from home. But yeah, I can't. Hopefully he comes on though. But again, will he need? It depends how the game's going. Do you know what I mean? Really, that's why he didn't come on against Millwall. Yes, they were putting a bit of pressure on us, but again, that's from our own mistakes. And yeah, the defense was actually good. Do you know what I mean? It was just sloppiness from Ruddock. So yeah, Hanno says this should be very easy. 3-0 Luton. Yeah, it's yeah, it should be really. 2-1 win. Elijah and Chong. Yeah, I hope Elijah gets off the mark because he has been getting close, isn't he? The last, well, especially the early games. Millwall, not really, if I'm going to be honest, but the games before that. And that's the thing. As soon as, them attackers score, they'll be on it. Do you know what I mean? They'll be scoring regularly now. Because we've seen that happen many a times with them. So we'll see. But yeah, should win that. Moving on to the next one, Sheffield United versus Derby. Now, again, quite an interesting one because, yes, Sheffield United would obviously be the favourites, being at home with the squad they've got and stuff, but Derby have done very well. Again, they're one of them teams where you'd say they do much better at home. But I don't know with this one. It could be a potential banana skin for Sheffield United. You look at a couple of weeks ago as well when they played QPR. They were 2-0 up, looked like they were in cruise control. Then they ended up drawing the game, could have lost the game. Don't underestimate Derby, is what I will say going into this. But I think I will still edge Sheffield United being at home. But you know what? I think it's going to be a very crazy game. I think there might be a lot of goals in this one. Sheffield United have had a few draws, especially goal-heavy draws, 2-2 this season. Obviously, Derby have had some convincing wins. Again, obviously they've been at home, but still, even their opening game, 4-2 against Blackburn, loss, but they scored 2 goals away. So, you know what? I'm actually going to go 3-2 Sheffield United. I think it's going to be crazy. A crazy goals galore game in that sense. So, yeah, 5-goal thriller, as they say. 3-2 Sheffield United. I think their quality will shine through in the end, but I don't know. I think it's going to be. I think Derby will give it a right go, to be honest. So yeah, that's what I reckon. Lewis, can you see anything other than Sheffield United win?
What did you say, Sophie? Score?
3-2 Sheffield United. I think it's going to be
Uh,
goals.
no, and we're going to agree again with the prediction. I feel like Derby on a good run of form. Sheffield United, obviously, I thought some last week. They're scary. Yeah, they're scary. Yeah, they control it from minute 1 to minute 90, really. The only thing that could hold Sheffield United back is, I'm not sure. I haven't looked at any fitness updates, but Gustavo Hamer came off with what I think was a hamstring injury. came off some sort of injury. I'm not too sure what it was. So he might not be able to play, which would be a pretty big blow for Sheffield United. Sorry, but they've got players to cover him. And I feel like with it being up the lane, I feel like it probably more suited for Sheffield United to go and win this. And I feel like they will. So 3-2, but you can't discount Derby at all, to be honest.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. You cannot at all. Done much better than a lot of people have anticipated so far, including myself. Obviously, I had them nailed on to go down, first team. But again, obviously, it still might go down, but they're doing a lot better than I anticipated. But then again, I thought at home they would do well. Not as well as they have, winning 3-0 and stuff like that. But yeah, it's interesting. Moving on to the next one, which is West Brom versus Plymouth. Now, Plymouth last week beat a team that were obviously weren't, having a loss or had a loss at that time. But, they're taking on West Brom, who, again, haven't had a loss. Obviously went top of the league due to Sunderland obviously losing to Plymouth and obviously them winning their game as well. But I don't know. I think this one's a bit different because it is at West Brom. I do think if it's at Plymouth, they could potentially do it again. But I don't know. I think with it being at West Brom, I can see it being a really close game. But yeah, West Brom, Plymouth away, I don't really rate them away. If I'm going to be honest, they're better at home for me, and they will be better at home. I think a lot of people expect that anyway, and they probably will give us a game next week at their ground. I can definitely see that, but I just think away, I'm not too sure. I don't think they'll get battered or anything like that, but I do think West Brom will win, and I do think West Brom will get a clean sheet as well. I'm going to say a narrow 1-0 victory for West Brom in this one. I think Plymouth can give it a go, but I think West Brom will continue this run. And like I say, if it was maybe at Plymouth, I'd probably say they'd get some sort of result. But yeah, will Plymouth do any upsets this week, Lewis? Again?
No, I don't think so. I think West Brom are very, very strong at the minute. I do kind of think they will drop off at some point, but I feel like while everyone's fit and things like that, they're a team that can definitely beat the bigger sides, just obviously your Burnley, Sheffield United, Leeds, and obviously yourselves. And I feel like with Plymouth, they'll have a lot of confidence going into it. After that win against Sunderland, but I feel like it's like I said at the start of the season. I think if they are still, the home form would definitely count, and obviously, like you said, the away form has not been fantastic. I don't think it was fantastic last season either, to be honest. So I'm going to go 2-1 West Brom. I think Plymouth will score. I feel like they will give it a good go. I feel like with it being at the Hawthorns, potentially a step too far.
Yeah, no, I agree in that sense. And then moving on to the last game, quite an interesting game, I think. Obviously, it is a derby. Again, a lot of derbies this week end, and that is obviously the Lancashire derby. Obviously, Preston versus Blackburn. Now, Preston during the week obviously had that crazy penalty shootout against Fulham. Ended up winning 16-15, the largest score on a penalty shootout in League Cup history, that was. So, they have a bit of confidence. Yeah, they played obviously a bit more. So, then maybe that could play a factor going into the penalties as well. Taken on Blackburn, who obviously done very well this season. Again, a lot better than people anticipated, since the departure of Smodics. Again, I was part of that. But yeah, it's an interesting one because, especially history-wise, this fixture does like to be quite draw-heavy. So it's an interesting one. I mean, Preston at home, I think with Heckingbottom, they will climb up table a little bit. I don't think they'll get in the playoffs or anything, or not quite yet anyway, but I can see him finishing quite high. Compared to previous seasons. Blackburn, again, it's an interesting one because you could have them as a dark horse, the way things are going at the moment for the playoffs. But again, I think they could be up there. So it's an interesting one. Obviously, it's a derby as well, so form tends to go out the window. But I don't know, it's interesting. I haven't actually gone for a 0-0 this week, and I'm not going to go for a 0-0 this week. I'm actually going to go with a high scoring draw in this game. I think Preston, because of playing during that week, that will play a part. Obviously going to the Logos penalty shootout, and then obviously Blackburn, it's still doing very well. So I'm going to say a high scoring one, and that is a 2-2 draw in this one to round up this weekend's predictions from me. Lewis, can you see a winner in this game?
Yeah, I feel like with the way Blackburn are playing at the minute, they can definitely probably go out as favourites. Obviously, when it's a derby, that doesn't exactly really matter. Preston, still a little bit hit and miss since Heckenbaum's come in. But I just feel like with the form that Blackburn has shown at the minute, I feel like they'll definitely have the more confidence and the more, not urge, because I'm sure Preston will want to win if Bragan writes something like that. But definitely a bit more, what's the word? What's the word? I don't know. But I think they'll definitely have a better feel in terms of, they've beaten some good sides. Especially, when, like you said, everybody's kind of wrote them off when Samus Mon's left, but they haven't really let that affect them, which is obviously good for them. Again, they probably will drop off at some point, but I don't think it'll be this game. I feel like they're getting another win. Fit a little bit comfortable. I think Preston have the chances, but this won't take them. So, and with how they're playing at the minute, and obviously John Hughes just has got me set perfectly at the minute. So I'm really with 2-0 Blackburn. But I think it'll be one of them tight ones where maybe a penalty or red card settles the game down a little bit. But we'll have to wait and see. But 2-0 Blackburn.
Yeah, it could be very interesting, like say. Could that Preston game play a part? And it is a derby, so they're probably obviously it will get feisty at one point. So yeah, could very well be one of them. Obviously it is the early game on the Sunday, so might have to have a little watch of that. To be fair, should be quite interesting that one. But yeah, there you go, guys. That is it. That is it. There is our championship predictions for obviously game week 6. So quite a lot of interesting games, especially if you base it on last week's results. A few interesting ones there. Sheffield United derby. A few others as well. Blackburn, we'll see, or Preston Blackburn, shall I say. So we'll see. And then there's some where you would expect the teams to win, i.e. Burnley, Luton, for example, and stuff like that. But Chris, shout out to yourself, mate. He's actually got Derby winning. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to get a draw. But yeah, I don't know. But we'll see, innit? We'll see. This is the championship. You know anything can happen, man. It's very interesting. But yeah, Lewis, any final things you want to say, mate, before we end it?
No.
No, neither here. What I will say is I've been asked to go on Hanno's channel to literally do the same thing. He's just sent me the link as it stands. So yeah, I'll go on that. Obviously, Coach's Corner. Do check that out. And we're literally going live as soon as I end this. So yeah, obviously check out there. Do check out the short that I posted earlier. It's just me saying I will be doing fan cams on Saturday. Obviously, I will be at a game. So obviously, if you're a Luton fan, then do that as well. And obviously the other shorts I've posted. Hat showed me and my dad will go even more in depth tomorrow on the game. And like I say, fan cams, match day vlog as well. And yeah, other than that, it'd just be shorts, and then obviously there'll be a hat show either on Sunday or Monday, reacting to the game, and then obviously we will be back on. Yeah, probably championship show and hat show on Thursday. Obviously, we do a reaction one as well. At some point as well, and yeah, stuff like that. So a lot of stuff coming up on the channel, so do check that out. And yeah, Lewis might have some more watch alongs pending in the future. Obviously, he did do one the other day. Big up to everyone that tuned into that. Anything you want to say on that, Lewis, quickly?
Yeah, just trying to tune in, things like that. Next one probably be when we play Munich in a few weeks. But we'll have to see.
Yeah. Yeah, no worries. Let me just check. Chris has just said, where's the link? So let me just get it in the chat quickly. So you guys can go onto it. But yeah, like I say, a lot coming up on the channel, on my channel. Obviously, if you're on Harry's as well, obviously do subscribe to everyone's as well. From there. But yeah, let me just get this link up for you guys before we end it. Let's see it 1 second. All right, share. Right, copy that. Right, there you go. I'm putting it in the chat now. So there you go. Right, there you go. That's where I will be very shortly. So do obviously check that out. And yeah, man, big up to everyone that's tuned in. Don't forget to smash a like, subscribe, all of that. Subscribe to all channels as well. If you are on my channel, if you go to the description, we'll have Lewis and Harry's channels there. So bang, you can just click on it from there. And yeah, follow me across all my socials. Description link in the description to all of that. And yeah, man, I'll be live on Hanno's channel any second now. So yeah, man, big up to everyone that's tuned in. And until next time, take care. Peace.